Welcome to Breezin with Bierman, the podcast, part of the Princetonian Now Media Group. As always, our aim is to educate, entertain, inform, and tell you what's trending. If you like what you listen to on Breezin with Bierman, the podcast, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts. I'm trying to remember this, YouTube, Spotify, New Pod City out of Trenton, and it's growing and growing and growing. Today's guest is a scholar, a teacher at Princeton University, a political philosopher. Now he's looking to achieve his own American dream by running for the New Jersey State Assembly, 16th District. His name, and again, I was practicing your name. Your name is Faris Zwirahn?
Yeah, Faris Zwirahn, yes.
Zwirahn, sorry. And just to give the audience a little more background, in 2010, you successfully obtained a Fulbright scholarship, bright guy, Bill Clinton, all those other people, luminaries, which allowed him to leave Syria to study in the United States. When his Fulbright expired, conditions in Syria worsened. A brutal humanitarian crisis, civil war is going on there, for those who don't know. It became clear that Faris could not return to Syria. He would disappear. When you hear disappear, that's almost like comic book, connotations, very sinister. And now that you've applied for and you received your political asylum in the U.S., and more importantly, 7 years later, you've become an American citizen. Congratulations. Yeah. In a way, that's the immigrant story. This is America, that's except for the native indigenous people. I think Will Rogers said, I didn't come on the Mayflower. My people met them at the beach. That's America. What should we start with? Okay, we want to get to your backstory because it's fascinating, but why you, why now? What do you bring to the table in this crowded race for the assembly?
Well, Adam, thank you for inviting me. And just one correction, I don't consider myself a philosopher, such a big word. I am a aspiring philosophy scholar. So why me and why now? Look, it is easy for me to answer why I am doing this. The first and the most important thing is to give back to this country. I am really sincerely grateful for this country for all of what it has given me so far. And in your introduction, as you mentioned, I grew up in Syria, and it was a great achievement that I worked for all of my life to get a scholarship, to study in the West. So all of that happened, and in 2017, when I received my citizenship, which is a great honor here in the Garden State that I call home, that I chose this state. The state didn't choose me, that became my chosen home. And right then, all of this Trump Muslim ban and actually I was waiting to become a citizen, so my dad and mom come visit, and they were banned of the country. And that's not only me, that's New Jersey is home to a lot of Muslim families, Arab American, Muslim American, and immigrants from all over the world, but specifically the countries that quote unquote were included in the Muslim ban. So that was my first motivation to go back to the activist me. I was an activist in Syria. I was arrested many times and jailed, and that was the reason. If I go back, I'll be put to jail right away and never see the light again. So that was when I started thinking about this, and I was like, the moment I become eligible to run for office in New Jersey, I'll do that. And there was years requirements, like 2 years, 4 years, or 5 years after you become a citizen to qualify. So I chose to run. Beside all of what I said, is I feel it hurts me. It does really hurt me to see the community that stood for me during those hard times, to see the corner shop close, and to see some of my friends have to quit their job to take care of their kids, or they cannot send their kids to college because they cannot afford that. So I know the struggle personally, because as I said in my story, and I don't shy away from saying that, I grew up in a little village in Syria. Poor, worked hard to get what I got here, and I believe in working hard and in education. And education elevated me from my poverty and my struggle, and that's why I became a teacher in the first place, because I helped people, achieve their goals and their dreams, and I see there is an opportunity now. There's a chance in Central Jersey, in our district, and in Princeton, and I want to take part. I want to participate. This is my
You're not
home.
afraid
This is
that
my
someone's going to
country.
make you disappear or anything here. I mean,
Hopefully not.
you're not.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
So what is it? I went through some of your general campaign themes: providing hazard pay to low paid frontline workers, great, ensuring parents, especially moms, have access to child care, diverse representation's big, smart taxation, what to support health and redefine poverty. What is that?
So taxation is a big thing for all of us, like working families, middle class, or people who have businesses and employer. Like taxes is an important thing to build a lot of ideas around. And one of the issues in New Jersey, housing is very expensive because the property taxes are high, and the property taxes are high because I think 60 to 70%. I might be like, don't quote me on the number, but at least 60% of our property taxes go to schools, for example.
Yeah, it's about
And
50 to 60. It gets
yeah,
sucked. Yeah.
yeah, we're not like, I'm a teacher, as I said. I am not against like cutting taxes from supporting schools, all of that. I am just thinking we need to start thinking about taxation and directing the money, taking the money from one place for another place, so we get we get what we want from the taxes we
Mhm.
pay. So
You mean
ex-
prioritize, and have programs that work.
exactly. So um, Jersey is home to a lot of pharmaceuticals, and we're proud of them. But there is something in taxations and business generally, that when a business or a company or a corporate make a lot of money out of something, like over a very short period of time, there is something called the profit win tax. So, for example, J&J made a lot of money, or is going to make a lot of money. Well, they received money from the government, around $1 billion, like from the previous government, to invest in making the vaccines. And they are their vaccine is going to be one of the main vaccines used in the United States, and some of that came from tax money, as came the $1 billion came from the federal government, and some it is from selling vaccines, right? So I thought this might be something we should look into. Again, I am open. If elected, I'm open to consult with the experts, because I'm not at the end of the day, I'm not an economist. But if we, let's say, put 2% or 3%, whatever, on these sales that came from vaccine on in certain pharmaceutical, that will generate some money we can use to invest it somewhere else. Invest it what, like the vaccine, the COVID and the pandemic generally impacted certain areas like education, healthcare, businesses. So if you can take that and invest it somewhere else, I
Mhm.
think it's a win-win. I'm pretty sure nobody's happy to pay more taxes, but they
Right.
are capable of paying more taxes because they made some money out of selling vaccines and getting money from the government. So that is the general idea.
Right.
I mean, we can look into it more when time comes, but that's what I call smart taxations.
Gotcha. All right. To reinvest in people, in programs that work, that benefit all people, so schools can run, teachers don't feel scared, people can go into
Exactly.
jobs.
Yeah, small
So
businesses can open back and stuff like that. Yeah.
people want to know I mean, what's the nut and bolts of your campaign? Do you have a mentor? Have you been raising money? Have you learned about how you have to apply, to get the financial records done, all that complicated, busy stuff?
It is complicated, Adam, and it's again. I am not a typical. I am not a career, a politician career. I am a teacher, and I am passionate about these issues, and I want to help. So I am learning as I go. I have a group of passionate volunteers with me, including my partner, Deanna Dyer. She's a lawyer, and she's a lawyer who works in like the good stuff, like family and relationship violence, and she works for a nonprofit, right? And a group of people like that who struggled in some point in their lives, or they see where they can provide in our society. So those are the people. I have no paid staff at all, and I haven't received any donations from corporates. All of that, it's all grassroots. It is like the $50, $100, $300 from families and friends and all of that. I hope down the road that people get excited about my campaign and started helping, like in volunteering or chipping like $25 or $50 here and there.
Is the university community supportive, or have they caught on to this? And would they give you time? If elected, would they give you time to do this job? I mean, it's part-time, full-time.
Yeah. So I discussed this with the group in my department. I work in the Arabic language group. I teach Arabic language and literature at the same time, and they're very supportive. And I looked into this actually in the university bylaws, that if a person, a full-time professor, lecturer, my title is a lecturer, if they have to do something for the public, they call it, for the good public, for us as a community, that is something they're fine with. And an example, a case in point, is Andrew Zwicker. Andrew Zwicker
Right.
is
Plasma physics, right.
yeah, and he is amazing. So he is. I don't know if he teaches at the same time while he serves, but the university is fine with it, and they're very supportive generally.
We can back up though. For those who don't know, there's been a civil war going on in Syria. You've been it's affected you. I know it's difficult. I call it like revolving mirrors of alliances. You have countries, you have ISIS, all involved, America, with all their interests and everything. Where is that war heading? Can you go home? It's a big question. I know it's hard to give a straight answer. A lot of Americans don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Adam. And as you in your opening, it's what Syria has gone through because of this civil war that eventually turned into a proxy war for a lot of people fighting in the Syrian land for other purposes. Um, I cannot go home for multiple reasons, because the Syrian regime is still in control, and my name on the blacklist for being an activist, for speaking out in the United States, for publishing stuff like writing in newspapers and writing against the regime, and because of my history as an activist before. So going back, I will definitely get arrested, and for multiple reasons. One of which, even if they don't, like, they cannot prove anything against me, because if there is anything in the Syrian law says if you publish an article you get arrested, I'm still under the age of 42, and according to what's going on in Syria, I should be serving in the military right now. Because if the certain countries, they have the what they call them conscription, like they have to men under the age of certain, men under like 42, it depends from country to country, but in Syria, if you're under the age of 42 and there is a war going on, whatever, you have to serve. And I refuse to do that. I refuse to do the military service in the first place, and I refuse to participate in a military that is slaughtering people.
Right.
The war right now, it's been less violence in the past 3-4 years, if I may say. There was an agreement between the Russians, who are like a main player on the ground, and other fractions in the Syrian war, to calm things down. But the country basically is three areas. The eastern part is under the Kurdish Arab coalition, which they are our allies. They're allies to the United States, and they've been doing a great work. And the most of the remaining geography, Syria, is controlled by the Syrian regime, and there is like a small fraction in the north controlled by the rebels.
Okay.
So,
well,
yeah.
Going back to the Balfour Declaration, you could say Syria, in a way, was an artificially constructed country, and I would say with Bashar, the leader, he's more like a warlord now than anything, in my opinion. He's the Alawites and everything. Again, a friend of mine worked in the Middle East, and he says it's a revolving mirror of alliances, interests, and geopolitical evolution that you can contain, you manage, and solutions don't happen very quickly. My producer just said that we have to move things on. Next segment is voices from the crowd. I'm not saying you can have all answers. These questions can come from anywhere. I got people in the street, people from Princeton. What do you miss most, besides people, the sights, sounds, or smells of your home?
Oh man, that is a great question. I miss my family first and
I,
foremost. My dad and mom, they still live there. I haven't seen them since I left. It's been like 12 years. What I miss friends that I grew up with. We all like at a certain age we develop this kind of relationships with, from middle school, high school. I miss those. I miss good food. Syrian food is
uh-huh.
Syrian food is good. Uh,
You don't
yeah,
like
and
processed food?
huh?
You
Not
don't like
processed food,
processed
no.
food?
Not processed food, no. But yeah, I definitely miss food, and beside missing my family and friends and all of that.
Second question goes on the immigrant. You have what we call immigrant eyes. What do you think you see about America that people who live their whole life here take for granted or don't see?
Amazing. I tell my students this every day. Looking at America from like somebody who grew up in a country that's completely different, um, we take democracy for granted. We do.
Well,
And this country is amazing in terms of its laws and the philosophy behind laws and all of that. And that's the reason we have in this country the longest living constitution. So nowadays, for someone who grew up here, didn't travel much, maybe didn't study the outside world, they don't see the American politics and democracy as somebody like me who grew up in an authoritarian government. Speaking up, you enter the prison. Speaking up here is fine. You can do whatever as far as like you don't physically harm someone, and that is something people don't see. Like we saw recently with the when people attacked uh, the Capitol, right? And we saw that was a reflection of our democracy. Like you have these people attacking like the mecca of democracy in our nation, right?
Citadel, yeah.
So we started to pay attention to that, and we started to say, hey, you cannot do this stuff, fine, speak up, urge your representative to speak up, but you cannot go around arresting people who want to kill people and all of that. So I hope and I wish that time and that incident taught us something, that our democracy is valuable, but at the same time it's fragile.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I
Yeah,
take that for granted. No matter what you feel about Trump, I don't want to get too partisan.
yeah,
Yeah, things can happen. Things can change. And,
right, yeah.
demagoguery, we've always had it, people, and then it can come back. Final question, then you can give us your website, where they can meet you, vote for you, talk to you. Um, what would be your greatest gift as a parliamentarian, politician, researcher that you would bring, if elected, to Trenton, New Jersey, in the state assembly?
um I am not going to do the following. I am not going to listen to political bosses if they want me to do what the people don't want to do. I will listen to the people. I will listen to to my community, right? I will consult with my community. I'll go back to my community because they cannot put a pressure on me. I am not in this for a title or political position or to be to get the thumb up from so and so in the Democratic Party or whatever, right? Uh, and I will always consult with the experts. Being an elected official is such a hard job because it touches in everything in our life. You have to know politics, you have to know economy, you have to know the constitution, you have to know all of that. But if you just think about it honestly and think that you are the voice of a lot of people, and if the decision is hard to make and you need to consult with someone, it's fine. It's fine to say like I don't know, let me just consult with someone, let me consult with my community, let me consult with the experts in this. And that is something I will, if I don't make it this time, if I make it in the future, that is something I have promised people, that I am not going to make a decision without consulting with the right people and without going back to my community.
Right. But you understand, like they say, the sausage is made. It's pretty messy. You got to pander. You got to talk. You have to raise money. Who knows? Maybe you get ambition and you
Yeah.
we'll see. Well, it's been great talking with you. Where can people reach you? Phone number, website? What do you want to leave us with?
Yeah, sure. My campaign website is zwirahn.com. That is zwirahn.com, like my last name. The email of the campaign is votefaris@zwirahn.com. So vote my first name, Faris, @zwirahn.com. And there's like also the messaging feature in our on our website. People can write messages there, and they come directly to me, and they can call me on my personal cell phone if they want, which is 347-457-06.
Oh my gosh.
uh, I am open to any opinion, positive or negative. I'm really in this for the good politics, as for the good fight, right? The late John Lewis, for the good trouble. That's
Okay.
what I want to do,
All right.
and that's what I hope.
Well,
Like, yeah,
my grandfather always said, that's America. People have to raise hell occasionally.
exactly, and that's why I chose this country, Adam, because this country is amazing. This country is great, but there's nothing perfect, right?
Right.
Our democracy amazing, but we have to fight for it. We have to not take it for granted, respect it, and do what we can. And that's what politics, that's what public office is: fighting for your rights, for your people, for your community, and that's what I want to do.
We'll leave it at that. It's been Faris Zwirahn. I'm so sorry,
Zwirahn.
Zwirahn. I love the name. This has been Breezing with Bierman, the podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam.